Thank you,
The
Madam
gentleman
Chair.
is now recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm honored to be here today, and I'd like to remind my colleagues that you don't fight communism with communism. And that's exactly what this government takeover of our American automotive industry is. I want to thank, again, Chairwoman Rogers for her unwavering support of this resolution and her leadership, and for Leader Scalise for his support on getting this to the floor as well. You have been leaders not just on this issue, but on so many issues that are important to the livelihoods of Americans. Before again, I want to acknowledge how personal this moment is for me. My father was just inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame last night. He started his trucking company with one truck, one trailer, and no excuses in 1971, and had to fight all the way up to the Supreme Court for the next 7 years for the right to be able to travel across state lines. He was a pioneer, not just as an African-American MBE, not just as an African-American in the industry, but for all small business. My father fought to deregulate, to preserve the American dream in the country. And 50 years later, his son is standing before you here today, fighting to deregulate, to fight for the American dream in this country. The burdensome regulations that are choking out jobs from my district and yours. It's the end of September. And in the beginning of October, in my district, in Warren, 2,450 UAW jobs are going to be sent from Warren, not to Sterling Heights, but to Saltillo, Mexico. Why? Because the automotive industry is in survival mode because of policies just like this. And the audacity of my colleagues on the left to say that we are wasting time. I hope that every single UAW worker who you just quoted, Mr. Ranking Member, hears that you say that we are wasting their time. We're fast forwarding right now to what the automotive industry understands is a comply or die moment. We must fight for the American middle class that was born in Michigan, and we must fight for the American dream that so many people feel is dying all over the country. This tailpipe emission standard is not just harmful, it's catastrophic. And for people with their heads in the clouds in this town who don't understand the way people are living across this country need to come to reality. The reality is, the automotive industry itself, if you actually listen, have told you that in order to get to 67% compliance of new vehicle sales, they cannot get there with the current technology or the current infrastructure or the current software without going to battery electric vehicles. Nobody here is against battery electric vehicles, but we are against telling the American people what they can do with their money and when they can do it. This is why we're here. In 2032, the standard requires that 25% of all sleeper cab tractors, 60% of light heavy-duty vehicles, that's your cars and trucks, zero emissions. This mandate will cripple the trucking and shipping industries and drive up costs. Anybody in this country have a problem with inflation or cost of living? Well, just look to your left and you'll find the source. In Michigan, the 10th Congressional District alone, we have over 100,000 manufacturing districts, many tied to the automotive industry. Biden's extreme EV agenda threatens 77,000 manufacturing jobs in my district alone, the #1 manufacturing district in the nation. This is not just bad policy for Michigan, it's bad for the country. Name a district that doesn't have a dealership, and that dealership is likely the largest philanthropist to your church, to your bake sales, to your Little League team. Guess what's going to happen when they have cars in their lots they can't sell? Guess what's going to happen when the same policies that spent $7.5 billion for charging stations only got seven in 2 years?
Additional 30 seconds.
The gentleman has another minute.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'll wrap. I'm fairly emotional about the livelihoods of the people who sent me here. This CRA takes a stand and sends a clear message: we will not abandon our people or our automakers or our auto workers. Michigan isn't afraid of the future. Republicans are not afraid of the future, but we demand that every American have a part in it. Madam Speaker, I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to vote in favor of H.J. Res. 136. I think about every hardworking American whom Washington has forgotten when we talk about making vehicles that are affordable and making a nation that is competitive. This isn't about partisanship, it's about common sense.
The gentleman's
it's about
time has
pragmatism,
expired.
and with that I yield.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.